So I'm Dr. David Reynolds. I'm the Chief Scientific Officer at Alzheimer's Research UK. So it's my job to oversee the strategy and the research that the charity funds, which is mostly in the biomedical space and mostly looking to understand what causes dementias and then looking at treatments so that we can much more effectively help patients. Well, the symposium here today has a fantastic lineup of speakers, some really leading scientists in the dementia field, and so it's fantastic that you get to hear those people. But also, this site here at Earlwood is one of the premier UK neuroscience research sites that does great work at the understanding disease and then translating that through to drug therapies, and that's a really, really important thing. So any disease that we try and treat is always a long and difficult kind of pathway from first understanding a disease to ultimately having really effective treatments to be able to help patients. And in this area we are finding progress very slow, and that is disappointing for people living with dementia now and their family and friends. But what's really important through the studies we've done so far, even though not successful, is we've learnt a lot. We've learnt a lot more about the disease, we've learnt a lot more about how to run clinical trials so that the new medicines that are coming through that are still in the early stages of testing can be tested much more efficiently, and I really hope will work. Well, Eli Lilly is one of the few large pharmaceutical companies to still actively do its own neuroscience research in the UK. And so that in itself is an important thing, but even more important for the dementia area is there are a lot of real experts here in dementia that have been working on this for many years. Eli Lilly has put many things into clinical trials. Now so far they haven't had a success that will make it all the way through to patients, but there are other things coming through that clinical development pipeline and much earlier in the preclinical drug discovery space that are being actively worked on here that offer so much hope for patients. So before I worked at Alzheimer's Research UK, I worked in the pharmaceutical industry in neuroscience doing drug discovery. And I worked on schizophrenia for quite a long time, and one of the most important antipsychotic drugs was developed in this site, albeit a long time ago, but it was a real step forward in terms of producing much better antipsychotics for patients with schizophrenia. More recently, it's the focus in neurodegeneration, from my particular interest in dementia, and I think the work that's done here is really world class, and that's a fantastic thing that it's great research being done here in the UK. Well, 50 years is a very long time. Now I hope certainly within 50 years, maybe earlier if we're lucky, that the world will be free from the fear, harm and heartbreak of dementia. Now at the moment what we really need is that really effective treatment for Alzheimer's disease and other dementias that can have a real impact on patients' lives, and that's what we've been waiting for a long time. We hoped end of last year that solanezumab would perhaps be that treatment, but thus far that's not the case. Over the next few years, there are a number of very interesting molecules in clinical studies that I hope will start to have an effect on the disease. If I wind forward 20, 30 or 50 years, what I really hope is that we will have simple tests that we can do on people in their 40s and 50s to find out who is most likely to develop Alzheimer's disease or other dementias in later life, and be able to offer them lifestyle advice to reduce their risk, but also really effective medicines to treat these diseases that are starting in their brains long before you see symptoms, so that nobody has to live with the really debilitating symptoms that you see in these terrible diseases.